Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله عليه الصلاة والسلام. أشهد أن عليا حجة الله صلوات الله عليه وآله وسلم. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم اجعل قلبي باربان لي سارا وعيشي كارا ورزقي دارا ولاد ابرار واجعل عند قبر نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم مستقرا وقرارا برحمتك يا رب العالمين.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى والذي خلق السماوات والأرض بغير عمد ترونها تبارك وتعالى هو الأول والآخر وإليه المنتهى. نحمده ونستعينه ونثني عليه ونؤمن به، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف بريته ومبلغ رسالاته العبد المؤيد الرسول المسدد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. I remind all of us, including myself, to inshallah uphold and establish the taqwa of Allah throughout our lives so that we are obedient servants of His, inshallah. So in the first khutbah, I wanted to go through one of the sayings of Nahj al-Balagha, which I found to be very nice. It's 2 or 3 lines. This is number 126, saying number 126 of Nahj al-Balagha, where it says that the Imam said, وَقَالَ عَجِبْتُ لِلْبَخِيلِ يَسْتَعْجِلُ الْفَقْرِ الَّذِي مِنْهُ هَرَبَ وَيَفُوتُهُ الْغِنَى الَّذِي إِيَّاهُ طَلَبَ. So this life is a life full of you have contradictions and oxymorons. This life, that's what it's like. For example, we're here, and every person who is here, well, almost a lot of us at least, we feel that we are going to be here forever. But we all know at the same time that we're not going to be here forever. That's a contradiction, you see, in and of itself. The fact that Allah has hidden from us, concealed from us when we're going to exactly leave this dunya, sometimes gives us this feeling that, oh, we're going to be here forever. But it's not the case. Allah, I love how Allah does it, you know. We don't know where we're going to die. The Quran even points this out. It says, بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتٍ, that no person even knows where they're going to die. Yeah? Because of that, we feel like we're eternal. Anyway, here, the Imam, he's also pointing out some of the contradictions that we have in this life. He says, I'm astonished by the bakhil, the stingy one. Why? Oh, Imam Ali, he says, يَسْتَعْجِلُ الْفَقْرِ, he's in a rush to reach poverty. This person who is stingy. Why is a person stingy? A person is stingy because they feel like this wealth that they've accumulated, if it goes out of their possession, there's no way to get it back anymore. That's a secular way of looking at things. That's what this world wants to teach us. But in reality, no, there's more variables in the equation than we think. Okay? Now, but interestingly, the Imam says, يَسْتَعْجِلُ الْفَقْرِ, this person's in a rush, the one who's stingy, is in a rush to reach faqr and poverty. How's that so? He says, look, faqr is going to come anyway. When we leave this dunya, we're not taking anything with us. The warith, the wurrath, those who inherit, they're going to take whatever we've accumulated here, right? And we have other hadiths that talk about this, that's one of the ways you lose all your wealth is through the wurrath. Okay, you become poor through that. So, faqr is coming anyway, sir. But it says, يَسْتَعْجِلُ الْفَقْرِ, this person's in a rush to get to that faqr by being stingy, okay? You're going to get to it anyway when you die, but you're trying to get it sooner. So there's a question mark here. What does the Imam exactly mean? He's going to explain in a minute. And then he goes on to say, he says, this faqr and poverty that this person is trying to evade and run away from. Okay? Trying to run away from it, but in reality is rushing towards it. He'll explain what he means by that in a minute. But he wants to add another line here first before he explains. وَيَفُوتُهُ الْغِنَى الَّذِي إِيَّاهُ طَلَبَ, while at the same time rushing towards and being in a rush to reach poverty that he was running away from, at the same time missing out on richness, wealth, ghina, the same ghina that this person was pursuing. Okay, so through bukhl, through stinginess, a person is going to try to avoid and evade poverty. But the Imam is saying, no, in reality they're rushing towards poverty. And they are missing out on the wealth, okay, on the wealth that they were actually pursuing. How is that, Imam Ali? Explain to us. He says, فَيَعِيشُ فِي الدُّنْيَا عَيْشَ الْفُقَرَاءِ, right? وَيُحَاسَبُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ حِسَابَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ. Like this is Amirul Bayan right here. We call him the commander of the faithful, Amirul Mu'mineen, right? But he's also Amirul Bayan, the master of bayan and speech and eloquence. In one short line, look how he explains it. He says, look, by the way, when we say stingy, not stingy for others necessarily. No, even stingy for themselves. There are some people, they have enough to spend on themselves to the point where, it's acceptable, reasonable, above average, something like that. But no, the guy is always walking around disheveled and a mess. Right? That's not how the Imams teach us to, go around, right? It's one thing to be zahid, it's another thing to be a mess. Now, stinginess sometimes has to do with me not helping others, sometimes not even helping myself. The Imam here, he says, this person who is at that peak and pinnacle of stinginess, do you want to know why he's in a rush to reach the faqr that's going to come anyway with death, but they're trying to get to it sooner and they're running away from wealth that they were pursuing? Because this person will end up living in the dunya the same way the poor people live in the dunya, because they're stingy. They don't spend on themselves, on their families. But why? Because this, I got the wealth. If I let it go, there's no way it can be replaced. There's a good chance it won't be replaced. Baba, there's other variables in the equation as well, other than just your hustle. But no, the Imam says, look, this person was going to be poor when they die, because when we die, we leave everything here. They just give us a shroud, right? A kafan. That's all they give us, correct? So we're going to be pretty poor. This person, though, is imposing on themselves, because of their stinginess, imposing on themselves what? Poverty. Why? Because their bank account isn't full. Their bank account is full. But that money was supposed to be spent on different things. But no, it's just there because it has to just be there. Yeah? And inshallah, none of our community members are like that. But all in all, this person doesn't spend on themselves. Now, you are looking like you're wearing your kafan right now. You were supposed to wear it 30 years from now. That's when we're going to be poor, when we leave this dunya. You look like you're about to leave the dunya now, or maybe you've already left. You're just a walking object right now. Yeah? So the Imam, that's how he explains it. He says, look, they're rushing towards faqr practically. When you look at them, you see poverty as if. But the problem is this, brothers and sisters, if it was all going to end here, we'd be good, right? Okay, fine. Someone just has a big fat bank account, doesn't spend on anything, even themselves, even their family. Fine. What's the big deal? The problem is this. With more comes more responsibility as well. So, this person is stingy in this life and lives a life of poverty as if, but yuhasabu fil akhirati hisab al-aghniya. But on the day of judgment, this person will be reckoned as one of the wealthy, because at the end of the day, you had that big fat bank account. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, oh, but God, I didn't spend anything on myself here. It doesn't matter. It was all yours. So were you stingy when it came to your monetary dues, when it came to taking care of your family, and so on and so forth? You hear stories sometimes. You're just like, wow, I know this person is doing pretty good, but like, they're very, very particular when it comes to their families even sometimes, as if they're giving an allowance to the family. Not just the kids, but the entire family has an allowance that they can't go over. It's good to manage things, obviously, but yeah, it shouldn't reach a point where really it stands out to others as if like, oh, what's wrong? You guys don't like each other too much in the family? What's going on? Yeah, so that's one of the contradictions the Imam points out about the dunya. That the one who is stingy, there's all these contradictions about this person. And this is why it's super important for us to have a proper perspective about our akhirah, what akhirah is all about. A person who doesn't, or practically doesn't believe in akhirah, although they're a Muslim, but practically when you look at them, you don't see akhirah in their demeanor, in their way of life and lifestyle. When you don't see that, that's when you're like, oh, that's why this person doesn't have a balance in life, because they haven't put the akhirah in perspective. That's the worst. خسر الدنيا والآخرة. You lost the dunya because you didn't take care of yourself here. And in the akhirah, though, you're still going to be accounted for. They're going to put you next to the Bill Gates of the world and say, no, you were one of them. Oh, but I didn't spend too much. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Right now, some of these millionaires and billionaires, because of their work, they'll sleep in their companies and their factories on the ground. You look at him, you're like, is this Ayatollah Bahjat? Like he's sleeping on a little mattress in the corner of the room. That's it. What a zahid. The guy has billions and billions in their accounts, right? And in their companies and in their businesses. Yeah, on the day of judgment, this person will have to give the answers that the wealthy give. The Imam is saying, what's wrong with you? All right, so that's number one. Another one, he says, عَجِبْتُ لِلْمُتَكَبِّرِ. I am surprised at the one who has a lot of arrogance and ego. الذي كان بالأمس نطفة ويكون غدا جيفة. The one who before was a drop of fluid, and then in the future, is going to be a smelly corpse. So how can a person be so proud of themselves? Really, have you ever thought about this, brothers and sisters? Like, Fir'aun, dude, weren't you going to the bathroom every day? How could you think that you're a god? Did he really think he's the Lord of the people, or no? It was just something that he was fooling the people with. At the end of the day, the least is that the person has to go to the bathroom, right? That's enough to show me that I'm nobody. So the Imam here is saying, look, that was our beginning. This is our end. And so then how can someone be mutakabbir? Yes. عَجِبْتُ لِمَنْ شَكَّ فِي اللَّهِ وَهُوَ يَرَى خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. This one's interesting. There's a lot of theology in this one line. I am surprised at the one who has doubt in Allah but sees the creation of Allah. When you see the creation of Allah, that should automatically take you to Allah Himself, right? How can one look around? Now, maybe the people of Imam Ali's time weren't understanding what he means here, but there's a lot of theology that comes out of this line. The fact that when you look around, you don't just see khalq. You have no choice but to attribute this khalq and creation to a creator. Now, the Imam is calling him Allah. It's not possible for there to just be creation. If you call it creation, what does that automatically mean? That means there's a creator. And so the Imam says, I look around, I see some people, they're talking about no God or God, doubting in God and all that kind of stuff, but haven't you looked around? The fact that you look around should be enough that these ayat and signs are pointing to Creator. So khalq, you can't have it without khaliq, he's saying. عَجِبْتُ لِمَنْ نَسِيَ الْمَوْتِ وَهُوَ يَرَى الْمَوْتَى. I'm surprised the one who forgets death, but death is all around them. And in this day and age with all the social media, we see everything that's going on. عجبت لمن أنكر النشأة الأخرى وهو يرى النشأة الأولى. This one's also nice. That I'm surprised. How can someone deny the realm to come? The next realm, the next life. How can they doubt in that when they see this first life? And the Quran points this out as well in Surah Yasin. You know, that Shia surah that we always recite. Yeah. There are some surahs that are Shia surahs, you know, because we might recite them more. Because they talk about Ahl Bayt, or we read them in our Isal Sawabs, yeah? Surah Yasin is a Shia surah, they say. So in that, there's a verse there that says, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ. So this person that's arguing, trying to make a case that there's no afterlife, ضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا. He presents an argument, makes an example in comparison for us. مثلا. What is his argument? قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم. How can Allah bring all these bones together while they've disintegrated and become powder, and even less than powder? How's that even possible? قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة. Tell these people who have such a strong argument, tell them, the same one who brought them together the first time will do it again. What's the big deal? Very simple. Here also the Imam says, you're seeing this life and you're like, how can there be an afterlife? What do you mean? As a matter of fact, I think there's another verse that says that it's even easier. If there's anything harder, it's the first time, not the second time. Yeah, it's as if, you know, the second time God has gotten the hang of it, kind of. So the Imam says, I'm surprised that someone would say that. What عَجِبْتُ لِعَامِرٍ دار الفناء وتارك دار البقاء. You know, these are like subtle jabs and subtle disses, as if the Imam is taking at people like, how dumb can you be? Okay? And it says, I'm surprised of the person that is building and making this life of theirs flourish. Yeah? But the name I'm going to put on this life is Darul Fana. Darul Fana means the place of, an abode of destruction. Fana, it's going to be fani eventually. Eventually there's going to be nothing. كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. The only thing that remains is going to be Allah. So, if the name of this life is Darul Fana, he's like, I'm surprised how much people are putting their eggs into this basket. Yeah? While there's another life that's called Darul Baqa, yes, the abode of eternity. Yeah? But this person is Tariq of Darul Baqa. This person is negligent of that life that is the life and abode of eternity. What's wrong with you? It's as if he's saying, what's wrong with you? Starting from the Bakhil. Bakhil, what's wrong with you? If I were to translate, like Shaykh Amin Rastani Nahjul Balagha translation, this is what I would translate. I'd be like, Imam Ali said, what's wrong with you? Oh Bakhil, oh stingy one. Like, what gives? And then the stingy one says, why? What's wrong with me? What was wrong with you is, you're rushing to faqr, the same faqr that you're running away from. How's that? Look at you. You're all a mess, you're disheveled. But at least I got my money in my bank account. No, spend on yourself, spend on other things. Yeah, go to fundraiser dinners. Yeah, do these kinds of things. But that just came right now, by the way. This was not premeditated at all. Do these things, otherwise you don't end up spending here, and then in the akhirah Allah's going to still account for you as one of the aghniya, one of the wealthy. Yeah? He's like, what gives? What's wrong with you, bakhil? What's wrong with you? Oh, where was it? Mutakabbir. What's wrong with you? And so on and so forth. Yeah, and that's why Nahj al-Balagha, although the Quran is a wonderful book, obviously, but Nahj al-Balagha, sometimes, the Imam, he takes, harder jabs at us sometimes. It's a good wake-up call every now and then, to read these sayings of the Imam. Inshallah, Allah gives us tawfiq to be followers of his path. Now, sometimes this dunya that we talked about destroys akhirah. We want to talk about in the next khutbah, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Allahu as-samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين أثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى والمثل الأعلى وتبارك وتعالى ثم أصلي وأسلم على نجيبه وحبيبه وحافظ سره الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل وسلم على علي أمير المؤمنين وعلى فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة اللهم صل وسلم على أئمة الهدى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف القائم المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. Once again, I remind all of us to be, inshallah, submissive, obedient servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have taqwa throughout our day and night till the end. Alright, so yes, that first khutbah, the Imam was speaking about some of the aspects of the dunya that are contradictions in his eyes. And he's just like, I don't get it, I just don't get it. Since it is we are getting closer and closer to the wiladat of our 8th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh, I thought it would be good to talk a little bit about one of the issues that was there during his time, the Imam al-Ridha. So as you all are aware, that our Imams, they had different challenges, obviously. They had their enemies and all of that. At the same time, there was also ideological challenges that would come up in their times. And so they had to do their part in somehow deflecting either the challenges that came at Shi'ism particularly, or even sometimes even at all of Islam. And one of those who stands out, one of these lights that shines the most out of the Imams when it came to this matter was our 8th Imam. So, Imam al-Sadiq, obviously we all are aware that he lived in a specific time where he was given that opportunity and breathing room to do as much work as he could, intellectual work, and that had to do with the sunnah of the Prophet and the tafsir of Quran and so on. But after him, I would say, Imam al-Ridha probably takes second place next to Imam al-Baqir for that purpose. And this is something that our scholars have pointed out, that Imam al-Ridha, Marhum Ayatollah Fatimiyya used to say this, that Imam al-Ridha, what he did for Islam, and I'm paraphrasing here, is no less than what Imam Hussein did for Islam. Imam Hussein preserved Islam with his blood. Imam al-Ridha preserved everything with his knowledge. He was given that opportunity. Ma'mun kind of gave him some leeway to do his thing, and he did his thing, because that was a time where a lot of challenges were coming in the direction of just Islam in general, I'm going to say. And Shi'ism, of course, has always been challenged and has always had to face these problems. But yeah, all in all, yes, Imam al-Ridha also is one of those. Obviously, all of our Imams have played a role in that, but Imam al-Ridha's role is a big one. Now, what I want to share, going off of the first khutbah, and how this dunya, how people can be so off that they will sacrifice their akhirah for their dunya, and the Imam, he was astonished at that. I want to talk about one of those ideological problems that we had during the time of Imam al-Ridha. Now, when you have different sects and denominations within Shi'ism and just Islam in general, lots of times, there are questions that people have that just aren't answered properly. There's some confusion. When you read the history of even Tashayyu and Shi'ism and its development, theological development, you'll find that people sometimes had questions after one of the Imams would pass away, trying to figure out who the next Imam was. And obviously the Imams wouldn't sometimes clarify exactly who was after them for fear of that the Imam after them being assassinated or murdered. Anyway, now with the story of Imam al-Rida though, it's not just about confusion. There might have been some confusion as well after Imam al-Kadhim's martyrdom. But with Imam al-Rida, one of those sects that's out there, when you read up on it, you find that no, it wasn't a matter of, we can't figure things out, things like that. You know what it was all about? It was all about the bling bling. It was all about the money, right? So I want to talk about the Waqifiyya. That's the name of this sect. And obviously they're not very, if there's any of them left anymore, I hear here and there that there's sometimes people out there that might have Waqifi tendencies, but like a school of thought, we don't really have them anymore in that sense from what I know. The Waqifiyya, what happens is that, what does Waqif mean? Obviously Waqif means one who stands, doesn't go forward, stops, halts, and is undecided, let's say. Tawaqquf means to stop. Even if you go to these Arab countries, what does the stop sign say? It says qif, right? Or tawaqqaf or something, which means stop. So they stopped at Imam al-Kadhim, the 7th Imam. So we usually hear about the Ismailis stopping at the 6th Imam, but the Waqifiyya, they stopped at the 7th Imam, Imam al-Kadhim. Was it because there was confusion? Was there? No. It wasn't about that necessarily. When you read up on it, there was other issues. These guys, there was a set of them, maybe 6, 7, 8, 10 of them, maybe they were the main heads of the Waqifiyya. What happened is, during Imam al-Kadhim's time, as you all know, the Imams had their own agents across the Islamic lands, right? And so this was a network of wikala, it was called. And so these wakala, these wakils, they were the ones in charge of taking care of different affairs, monetary affairs, and distributing that money, taking it to the Imam, and so on and so forth, in the form of the khums that they would collect. Especially khums became a big thing during that time onwards, Imam al-Kadhim's time, from what I remember. And so these people, these heads, some of them wakala of the Imams, which, by the way, this is going to be a wake-up call for us that there's no guarantee for any of us. You're a wakil of the Imam, directly. So the Imam has appointed you on different places. People keep bringing you their wealth, but the Imam is now incarcerated, and so they have to hold on to that money. What a big test. I'm not talking like $15,000 and all that kind of stuff. No. I'm talking like millions, something like that. And we'll read the numbers a little bit. So what happened was, these people, all of a sudden, Imam al-Kadhim has passed away, and they're holding on to a lot of money. So what do you do, obviously? Well, you deny the next Imam. That's what you do. And so they said, no. Who says Imam al-Kadhim has died? Imam al-Kadhim has gone into occultation. He's gone into occultation and he will return. Whoever says that they're succeeding Imam al-Kadhim, they're liars. We don't believe them. Yeah. And so by doing this, sometimes you say that, the previous Imam has died. Okay, then obviously the money doesn't belong to the previous Imam anymore because he's not here anymore. It's time to find who it goes to. In the end, it's going to go to somebody, and it's not going to be me because I'm a wakil. That's all I am. And so, I mean, good for them. What an idea. They said, no, the Imam is still alive. The Imam is still alive. Okay? And so they kept the money. And so now we have this problem. Now, I want to go through 6 of these people, and these are the heads of the Waqifiyya, to see that what our Imams had to deal with. And so these people, their personal interest pushes them in this direction of doing what they're doing, which is wrong. But now you have a whole ideology and a sect now that's causing issues for the people. People are even more confused just because you want to line your pockets. So the most famous of them all, Ali ibn Abi Hamza al-Bata'ini. You read about this guy. He was my hero. This guy was good. This guy, if I remember correctly, he was the one that was in charge of helping the famous companion of Imam Sadiq, Abu Basir. Abu Basir was blind, and so he would take him around. He has lots of hadiths in our hadith books, this Ali ibn Abi Hamza al-Bata'ini, right? It just shows us that there's no guarantee. Ya Allah, please protect us, oh Allah, till the end. This Ali ibn Abi Hamza al-Bata'ini, it says that he was one of the main heads of the Waqifiyya, and he never changed his path till the end. Till the end. Now I'm just going to share with you one of these sayings of the Imam in regards to him, where he says that when after Ali ibn Abi Hamza died, he said they have sat him up in his grave and they've asked him one by one of his Imams, and he answered all of them until he reached the 8th Imam, and he did tawaqquf there and he stopped. His name is Waqif, he's a Waqifi, right? So he stops there, he doesn't say Imam al-Rida's name. This is in the hadith. And so now, what did they do to him? They delivered a blow to his head, probably with a club of iron or fire, and his grave is now full of fire. Wow. Like these are the ones that the Imam was talking about in the first khutbah. I'm surprised. Why would you do this to yourself? What's wrong with you? You know? Next one, Ziyad bin Marwan al-Qandi. There's a lot of stories here. I don't want to take too much time, but it says that he had received a lot of money, him and somebody else, for Imam al-Kadhim during Imam al-Kadhim's life. And so this person, it says that the Imam was with him, Imam al-Kadhim, once. And Imam al-Rida walks in as a child, I guess. And so the Imam al-Kadhim says, right now, the best of all the people of earth, on the face of earth, has entered. When Imam Rida walked in. Okay? And then it says Imam al-Kadhim took Imam al-Rida and squeezed him to his chest and kissed him. And he turned around to these two people who have a lot of money later. And he says to them, if you deny his haqq, may Allah's la'na and his angels be upon, and the la'na of all people be upon you. Guess what? Later on, when Imam al-Kadhim passed away, Imam al-Rida is alive now, the Imam. When this is brought to their attention, hey, remember Imam al-Kadhim said that? They said, the guy who reminded them of the story, this guy turns around and tells them, I think you've gone crazy. What are you talking about? What story? Brothers and sisters, we're sitting here all these years later, right? And we're like, astaghfirullah, what a bad person. How could you, the Imam, of course, Imam over, what's it called? Money. We don't understand big money. Some of these narrations, they say that one of them had 30,000 dinars. 30,000 dinars. I'm not talking dirhams. Who likes dirhams? Silver versus gold. 30,000. Another one had 70,000 dinars. Let's just say, if you have $25 million in your bank account, but it's not yours, and one day it's going to say 0 because you got to take it all out. Yeah? That's when the test gets a little bit harder. Yeah. Uthman bin Isa Rawasi, his name is, this next one. That Imam Rida wrote him a letter. He says, my father has passed away. Send over the money, please. Yeah. And all of the news about his death is true. Don't deny that he died. He's dead. Everyone knows he's dead now. He's passed away. He's become shaheed. Yes. So he asked him for this. Yeah. What this guy say in response? He said, none of this money belongs to you. And if he has actually died, still none of it belongs to you. Because he never told me when he was alive that I'm supposed to give you the money. You see the excuses that they're coming up with. And these are the type that Imam Ali says, I'm surprised, what's wrong with you? Yeah. But they say this third one that we covered, in the end he did tawbah. In the end he did tawbah. But brothers and sisters, I don't know what to say, because sometimes you start something, then once you come back from it, I don't know if necessarily the other ones who have followed your footsteps in the wrong that you disseminated, is it going to necessarily help that you now did tawbah? We have to be very careful. There are some sins that are just not worth it. The ones that are going to affect others in their guidance and misguidance. Very, very careful we have to be. Because the tawbah then, I don't know, we got to fix the problem too. How are you going to fix the problem? It says that he saw a dream. Then he was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in trouble. He goes with his son to Kufa. From Kufa, he goes to Karbala. Until for the rest of his life, he was doing ibadah and stuff. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the Tawwabun during Imam Hussein's time. That eventually they were upset of what they did and they came back. But I mean, come on. Why are you going to, if you're going to do that later, just do it at the right time at least. All right, next one. This next one, someone says that he was talking to somebody. He says, I'm the son-in-law of so-and-so. That so-and-so, Ahmad bin Abi Bishr as-Sarraj. This is another one of the heads of Waqifiyya. Look at his test now. Once again, he has a problem. He says, he says to his kids when he's on his deathbed that I had money from Imam al-Kadhim, but I never gave it to Ar-Rida. Now that I'm on my deathbed, I want to make sure that you guys give it to him when I die so that you save me from the hellfire. I don't want to go to the hellfire because of this. And so his son-in-law, this is the worst, you don't trust your in-laws, brothers and sisters. These are things that we should learn growing up. We should know. You don't trust your in-laws. He's trusting his son-in-law of all people, and he says to him, "I'm just kidding, by the way. All right, people are looking at each other. Oh, my in-law." His son-in-law says, when he died, we didn't give any of the money to Ar-Rida, and we said, "You can just roast in hell, because this money's something else." He says we didn't even give one little bit of that money back to Imam al-Rida so that he falls into the hellfire. Another one is, I'm going to skip this one, and let's skip this one too. All in all, brothers and sisters, out of these 6 or 7 that I'm covering and covered, 2 of them it says they did tawbah, the other ones didn't even do tawbah. And I'm not surprised that they wouldn't do tawbah. But there were some other companions now these are our heroes. These are the ones that you find also in the hadith books narrating from our different imams. One of them, his name is Yunus bin Abdul Rahman. He's very famous, okay? Yunus bin Abdul Rahman, he tells us a story that I want to go over. This is a guy that didn't get it wrong. And Imam Ali is not going to turn around and say, "Oh, what's wrong with you? He got it right." It says, he tells the story. He says when the 7th Imam passed away, one of his representatives who had a lot of money, and then he says, have 70,000 dinars, what I told you all. And another one of them which had 30,000 dinars. These guys, it caused them, the money that they had was so much, it pushed them to the point that they had to deny the death of the 7th Imam. Okay. And then it says, when I saw that this is happening, and the truth became clear to me, and that Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida is the Imam after Imam al-Kadhim, once it became established to me, he says, I went and started telling the people and told them to now accept the imamate of the 8th Imam. These 2 sent me a message. They sent me a letter. What did they say? They said that, why are you going around telling people to follow the 8th Imam? If you are doing this because now you want to be all close to him, maybe you want some money, don't worry, we got what you want. Here's 10,000 dinars, baby. 10,000 dinars, come on the dark side. Right. Now 10,000 dinars might not be 25 million, but it might be like 5 million. I'll take it. And they said that you guarantee this if you just keep quiet. He says that, don't you remember that Imam as-Sadiq, because remember these guys are the OGs, narrators of hadith from the past. Yunus ibn al-Rahman, al-Bata'ini that I talked about that went on the wrong side. These guys are like, they have a lot of hadiths. We have hadiths by these people. He says, don't you remember Imam as-Sadiq, the hadith, that famous hadith by him, that when the bid'ahs become clear in the ummah, the scholars have to come out with their knowledge blazing, not their guns blazing, their knowledge blazing. Yeah? And make the truth clear to the people, or else the light of Iman will go from their hearts. I will not stop fighting in this way and carrying out Allah's commands. There's nothing that's going to stop me. He said that when I told them that's when they became enemies with me, and so on and so forth. But the same Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman, according to some of the accounts I was reading, this same one caused a lot of people to come back on the right side. Now these, I was surprised because I saw some big names amongst those. For example, Jamil bin Darraj, he's huge. Hamad bin Isa, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't know. Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Abi Nasr al-Bazanti, he's very famous, one of the ashab of Imam al-Rida. These people had become Waqifi initially, according to this. He's the one who brought them back. Hassan bin Ali al-Washa, another big one. These guys, you find their names across the hadith books that the Shia have. But this Yunus bin Abdul Rahman was the one who brought them back. Anyway, brothers and sisters, all in all, the Imam in the first khutbah, he was saying, I'm surprised that this is the case. Yeah, Imam Ali, you have every right to be surprised because you have the accurate perspective one is supposed to have, a Muslim is supposed to have towards the akhirah. But if a person has not been able to have a relationship with their akhirah, yeah, then what's going to happen is, and put it in perspective the way it's supposed to be, according to the Quran and Hadith. That's why reciting Quran and reflecting on Quran and doing tafsir of Quran and teaching Quran is so important. If a person doesn't do that, then they're going to be out of touch with that proper perspective of akhirah. As a result of that, yeah, they will compromise on their akhirah for dunya. And there's going to be there's nothing to be surprised about anymore. Obviously, a person who doesn't know what the akhirah is all about is going to put all of their eggs in this basket. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us and to always have that glimpse of the akhirah in our lives, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله وأنه حجة الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده. الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا خفي الألطاف نجنا مما نحذر ونخاف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اجعلنا أقرب من تقرب إليك وأوجه من توجه إليك وأنجح من سألك وتضرع إليك. اللهم اجعلنا ممن كأنه يراك إلى يوم القيامة الذي فيه نلقاك، ولا تمتنا إلا على رضاك. اللهم واجعلنا ممن أخلص لك بعمله وأحبك في جميع خلقك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد، واغفر لنا مغفرة جزما حتما لا نقترف بعدها ذنبا ولا نكتسب خطيئة ولا إثما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلاة نامية دائمة زاكية متتابعة متواصلة مترادفة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين.
Just a couple of quick announcements. First of all, thank you very much for whoever has registered for our upcoming fundraising dinner. We are incredibly grateful for your support. Please note, registration is now closed. Due to the nature of the event, we will not be catering to walk-ins. Things to remember, please bring your ticket with you. Either can be a printed copy or a QR code that you received in your email when you registered. And please also note that we are going to be maintaining the separate entrances for brothers and sisters, so please ensure you have your ticket on you and that it's not with your significant other. We look forward to an evening filled with joy, celebration, and community spirit tomorrow night. For any questions or assistance, please reach out to us at info@cfkdfw.org. Another reminder that on Sunday, we will have the celebration of the birth of Imam Rada alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajah. And we are honored to host Sheikh Azhar Nasir for this event. The program is inshallah going to commence at 7:30 p.m. As always, event details are posted on our webpage, cfkdfw.org, where you can subscribe to our newsletter and to our WhatsApp group. Jazakallah to all our sustaining members, donors, volunteers, and program sponsors for your contributions. If you are not a member yet, please consider becoming one by contacting our membership director, Brother Asif Patel. And the info is on the screen and on the live stream, and you can always scan the QR code that is present there. And for opportunities to donate and sponsor programs or help behind the scenes, please speak to myself or any of the existing volunteers. Let us all please recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhumin of today's program sponsors.
especially Marhum Khurram Raza Ali and the Marhumin of Brother Sadiq Makhraj and family. Let us also include our own Marhumin and the Marhumin of the Ummah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله وأنه حجة الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يكن له كذلك الله ربي الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام، وأسأله أن يتوب علي توبة عبد ذليل خاضع فقير بائس مسكين مستكين مستجير، لا يملك لنفسه نفعا ولا ضرا ولا موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من نفس لا تشبع، ومن قلب لا يخشع، ومن علم لا ينفع، ومن صلاة لا ترفع، ومن دعاء لا يسمع. اللهم إني أسألك اليسر بعد العسر، والفرج بعد الكرب، والرخاء بعد الشدة. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك، لا إله إلا أنت، أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. اللهم صل على محمد.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام على 9 المعصومين من ولد الحسين. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء ومعين الضعفاء والفقراء، أيها الرضا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك، وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.